Welcome to WiredToHunt's Whitetail How-Tos, where we provide a step-by-step tutorial for one important deer hunting task.
Today I want to talk about something that I think every whitetail bow hunter should at least consider about summer practice that sort of gets overlooked, and that's having a two-target strategy. If you look at the target categories, you basically have two kinds. You have some kind of block style or something with nice bullseyes, diamonds, high contrast target faces, easy aiming points. And then you've got the 3D side of things that actually look like animals to some extent, typically don't have any aiming reference points or anything on there. And those two types of targets both have their places. And so I want to start with why you should have a portable target with bullseyes or something that's really easy to aim at. You want something when you're in the setup process, maybe you just got your bow set up, or maybe you're just starting out with 10 or 20 arrows at a shooting session. You're just getting back into the groove, getting that muscle memory going. It's nice to be able to just shoot at bullseyes. Those targets are designed to make it easier for you to float that pin and hit what you're aiming at, shoot tight groups. That's a great thing to do to start out and get those reps in. Those targets that are smaller, portable, really affordable too, which is nice. They can go with you anywhere. You can shoot with them anywhere. They're nice if you start to extend your effective range out. Those initial steps of moving to farther distances, those high contrast target faces are really, really nice. But eventually you got to prepare yourself for the real world. And when a whitetail walks in, you don't have that bright contrast, that bright bullseye or diamond or spot. You have an animal that has evolved to disappear in the woods. And yet that is an animal that also moves in really low light conditions. And so if you're only practicing on bullseyes all summer long, you can get pretty accurate, but there's something to taking your pin and actually floating it on the side of an animal. Get yourself both types of targets. When you get a 3D target, what it allows you to do besides just sort of getting in the habit of going, okay, I gotta follow that leg crease up and I gotta back off 3, 4, 5 inches, wherever you're comfortable aiming, it allows you to mess around a little bit and change the angle of your shots. When you think about a whitetail walking in, we always think in our head that dreamy 20-yard broadside shot. That's great. Sometimes they offer that up, but a lot of times they walk in at 23 yards and they're feeding on those beans and they take 2 steps and their body changes and all of a sudden you're dealing with maybe a slight quarter two, a slight quartering away, maybe a little steeper quartering away. And people who have a lot of experience are pretty good at that. Like it's just kind of ingrained in them. But if you're new to this or you haven't killed a lot of whitetails or maybe you just haven't shot very well at whitetails, you might be in the zone of thinking, okay, I got to get that pin right behind the shoulder and shoot fast, which is what a lot of newbies do. It doesn't work out very well if that deer has taken a quarter of a step or a half a step or a whole step towards you or away. Now your point of impact has to change. Practicing those shots, I think, is really, really important. Throughout the summer, you mix it up a little bit with those targets. But what I do is I start out, I shoot a lot of bullseyes, I shoot a lot of tight groups, I break a lot of knocks, but I like just getting into that rhythm. And then as the season's getting real close, I'm almost entirely shooting my 3D targets, because I want to get into that mode. And I also want to work on my shooting in those low light conditions and the challenging angles and things that actually make you an effective whitetail shooter instead of just a spot shooter, because there's a difference. So think about that. I know it can get a little spendy buying 2 targets, but they're pretty good these days. They last a long time. A lot of them you can shoot broadheads and field points into, and it's worth having both options so you can really level up your summer shooting game, which is going to help you in the woods in the fall. If you want more whitetail hunting advice, please listen to the Wired to Hunt podcast and the Wired to Hunt Foundations podcast, and we'll give you everything you needed to hear about deer.